Mormon Church sued for confessed child molester to police. If it's your first time on my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Do clergy members have an obligation to report heinous crimes to police? Or does the holy confidence of the confession booth trump all? This is the question at the heart of a strange lawsuit in Oregon. The wife of an Oregon man is suing the Mormon Church for reporting her now imprisoned husband's criminal confession to police. The man was convicted of sexually abusing the couple's own daughter for 4 years and is now serving 15 years. His wife has apparently decided real justice means filing a $9.5 million lawsuit against the Mormon clergy who reported her husband to the authorities. The lawsuit claimed the husband, Timothy Samuel Johnson, confessed to the molestation to a local Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints panel back in 2016. After being encouraged by the church to repent for his sins, seek spiritual healing, and bring peace within his family and his life, one member of the panel who heard the confession took it straight to the police. Johnson was arrested and charged a year later and finally convicted of 4 counts of second-degree sexually abuse in 2018. And now Johnson's wife, Christine, is suing the Mormon Church. She listed herself and 4 of her children as plaintiff, all of whom have been deprived of her husband's companionship, society, love, affection, and financial support. She is seeking $5.5 million in damages for herself and $1 million for each children. The couple's 5th child, the one abused as a teenager, was not listed for obvious reasons. What happens in confessions? Stay in confession, right? Eric Hawkins, a spokesman for the Utah-based Mormon Church, defended the decision to report. The church teaches that leaders and members should fulfill all legal obligation to report abuse to civil authorities. In most circumstances, those obligations may be governed by their professional duties and in other by their role as clergy. We are grateful for the effort of law enforcement and prosecutors to investigate and pursue justice for those who were abused. In Oregon, clergy are considered mandatory reporters and are required by law to report suspected child abuse to authority. While the law requires a list of private or public officials to report suspected child abuse to the Oregon Department of Human Service or local police, that list, which include doctors, firefighters, teachers, social workers, and clergy, does include certain exceptions for child abuse uncovered through privileged communication. The fact that the clergyman who reported the abuse, Brian Sari, worked as a pharmacist for his day job only compounds matters. Pharmacists in Oregon are also considered mandatory reporters. Broken promise or moral obligation. And yet Bill Brandt, the Salem attorney representing the family, isn't concerned about mandatory reporting laws at all, but rather fault the church for breaching confidentiality after assuring the family that confession would remain private. He's painting the reporting as a betrayal of his client's trust and confidentiality. Brand insists church leaders should be warned. The husband, they would report him to the police. That was a promise, Brand argued, that totally violates church policies. It has been devastating on the family, he argued. They lost a husband and a father. Righteous indignation. The lawsuit have drawn outrage from non-profit organizations that support child abuse victims who failing to report pedophiles will only victimize more children. It is not just as a parent's job to protect their children from predators. It is the job of every single adult, explained David Coency, former national director of the Survivors Network by those abused by priests. So adults who do put the safety of children first should be applauded or penalized. Of course, the irony of a church being sued for reporting child abuse is impossible to ignore. Advocates fear that if this case moves forward and is cited in Johnson's favor, clergy may be more hesitant to report child abuse that is confessed to them, for fear of being hit by a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Law professor Christine Bartholomew said that this legislation would push court and these religious organizations towards less transparency than more, leading to an environment where abuse can run rampant. If it moves forward, the case would define how church leaders react to confession in the future. If confession truly is sacred, no matter how heinous the crimes, after all, clergy members hear disturbing confession all the time. Isn't that kind of the point? And yet, Habakkuk makes a great point. If this case is successful, church leaders will undoubtedly be wary of reporting the most heinous confession to police. My viewers and subscribers, lend me your views on this. Because like you listening to it or maybe reading it after I'm finished, will also be perplexed. A question is asked, where exactly in the line between ministry, clergy, confidentiality, and civil obligation to report criminal activities? No confessions are made in the church, but we're living now in a society. And I realize that people are trying to take the church as a scapegoat. Your confession are being done in there, and we're obliged to keep them. But some of the confessions, I'm saying this, some of the confession that you are confessing to needs to be reported. Whether you want to sue us for the millions or the million more, it only outlined to show how society thinks, how people are thinking in their mind, and why they think that the church should be silent in areas that affects other people's life. Once again, this is J. Khan TV out of Zurich, saying unto each and every one of us, walk in peace, my friend. Shalom.